Long gone are the days when retirement was pretty much the same for everyone. You stop working, period. There is no specific definition for retirement these days at all, and the concept is ever evolving, which can confuse people. Who better to clear up any retirement confusion for us than Jim Yee, a financial educator and founder of retirehappy.ca. Welcome back, Jim.
Thank you, Shauna. Great to be back.
How has the concept of retirement really changed and evolved over the past century?
Oh, so much. Retirement's becoming a longer and longer phase of our lives. Freedom 55, which was an advertising campaign, it all got us thinking about retiring earlier. We're now living longer. And so even if you look back 30, 40 years ago, we retired at 65. We died in our early 70s. So retirement was really a period about old age. Today, it's completely different. It's about living. It's about the golden years. It's about the best years of our lives, you know. And so that aspect alone has changed retirement planning and how we should think about retirement so much. Yeah.
And even some false assumptions, I guess, for today's generation based on the previous ones?
Well, for sure. I mean, the assumptions that we used to use for retirement planning are now completely different. Example of this is, rates of return. We now live in a world where you used to be able to retire and invest in GICs at 7, 8, 9, 10%. So retirement planning was very predictable back then. Today, interest rates are low. People have their money in mutual funds and stocks and things like that. So it's harder to plan because of the variability of, are you gonna retire into a bull market? Are you gonna retire into a bear market? Will stocks still pay 3, 4, 5% dividends? So there's a lot more unknown, which makes it challenging. There's a lot more choices, which can make it challenging, and a lot more information too. There's that clutter of. One of the things I find that people are saying to me is, who do you trust? How do you know what you should listen to and what resources are right and wrong and which rules you pay attention to? So
yeah, that's the confusion.
It can be.
So then a lot of people just want to phase in retirement today as an option.
Yeah, that's probably the biggest, I'll call it physical change. Retirement used to be sort of an off-the-cliff event. You work, and boom, you jump off the cliff and hopefully something catches you. But now, retirement tends to be more gradual. There's more options for what we call phased retirement or transitional retirement. Example of that might be, going from 5 days a week to 3 days a week to 1 day a week, or retirement meaning you take new contracts or you work part-time. So this is a huge trend, and it's changed both the financial side and the lifestyle component of retirement planning.
Okay, let's spend a couple minutes now on the planning. Something people don't really want to plan for, but you need to, long-term care as part of your retirement.
Well, it's a big fear that people have now. So as we get into the period of retirement, because there's the longer phase of retirement, there's more concern over, okay, well, what if I need care? What will happen? What will it cost? That's a big question. There's this fear that it's going to be really, really expensive. And because of that, there's a reluctance for people to spend their own money on the good years. So yeah, there's a definite shift in focus and thinking about healthcare options. And I think part of it is fear-driven, and in what I see is that people worry more about it than maybe they should. But it's understandable, right? We all worry about those options.
Right. Something people don't really worry about, but maybe don't think about properly, is their type of lifestyle when they retire, and to be prepared for that.
Well, I think that's because of all the things that we've talked about. There is a shift in thinking. Retirement planning used to focus all around the money. It used to be how much is enough, how much you need to save, and it used to be a fairly simple calculation. Today, you have to think beyond the money. You have to think outside of the box, beyond dollars and cents. You have to think about health. You have to think about how to keep busy. You have to think about the things you enjoy, the proverbial dream list, the wish list, all those things. In fact, what I see happening is the most successful retirees actually understand lifestyle more. They have a better grasp of the lifestyle issues and the dream list and what's it going to take to be happy. And that actually plays a bigger component in successful retirement.
So I hear, think outside the box, but don't do it yourself. I know we've talked about that time and time again, but we have people out there probably watching going, I don't want to be scared and I want to plan.
Yeah.
So where do you even start?
Well, you know, that thinking out of the box idea is I think important even when it comes to getting advice. The traditional financial planner who's going to crunch numbers. I think that there's a new breed of financial planners out there, retirement planners, who will think outside the box and incorporate lifestyle planning into the whole issue of, you know, RSPs, taxes, and finances. And to me, that's a good advisor can think beyond just those numbers and spreadsheets.
And no matter your age, millennials and back.
Yeah, for sure. I think, you
generations.
know, the younger you are, the harder it is to grasp lifestyle issues. You know, I even think of my own life 5 years ago, how much life has changed, right? So it's hard to think, you know, for a 20, 30, even a 40-year-old to think of, you know, 10, 15 years down the road. It's very hard to do. So for the millennials, focus on saving. Buy your, it's kind of boring, but focus on your RSPs and saving money and your TFSAs and things like that. But as you get closer to retirement, there should be a shift in thinking where you start to think about that lifestyle a little bit more.
Well, hopefully we've motivated people. Thank you, Jim.
Thank you. Thanks for having me.